The inspector returns to the room, where Sheila and Gerald are talking. Sheila says she believes the inspector already knows about Gerald's relationship with Ava. Gerald tells the inspector he worries that Sheila is becoming hysterical and should be excused. Sheila admits she might be hysterical, but asks to remain. Gerald asks Sheila if the reason she wants to make him suffer the guilt of Ava/Daisy's death is because he had to suffer, too. Sheila counters that Gerald couldn't really love her if he accuses her of being so spiteful. Sybil enters and asks what the matter is. The inspector tells her he is asking Sheila and Gerald about Ava's death, and Sybil tells the inspector that his questions are impertinent. Sheila warns Sybil that anything Sybil says might become fodder for the inspector's inquiry. Sybil dismisses this warning and tells Sheila to be quiet. Sybil notes that Eric is distressed, probably because he's had too much to drink at the dinner. When Sheila mentions that Eric's drinking is a steady problem, Sybil counters that this isn't the case, and is embarrassed that the subject is brought up before the inspector. Sybil asks Gerald whether Eric's drinking is a problem, and to Sybil's chagrin Gerald agrees that it is. Arthur returns to the room. He says he has tried to persuade Eric to go to bed because of his drunkenness, but the inspector warns that Eric, too, will be questioned that evening. Sheila worries what will happen to the family when the inspector has finished his investigation. The inspector turns to Gerald. He asks Gerald directly if he knows a girl named Daisy Renton. Gerald at first refuses, but Sheila warns him he ought to come clean to the inspector. Gerald admits to knowing her, and tells Sheila again that she won't like anything he has to say about Ava/Daisy. Gerald says he met Ava/Daisy, who introduced herself only as Daisy, at a bar where he assumed she was a prostitute, and where a lecherous older man had cornered her. Gerald helped defend Ava/Daisy from the gentleman's advances, for which Ava/Daisy was grateful. Gerald says that he arranged for Ava/Daisy to live at a friend's apartment in town while the friend was away for business. Gerald maintains that he did not initially support the girl in order to have an affair, but she did become his mistress. Their affair lasted for some months. Gerald knew that the relationship would end, as did Ava/Daisy, and by the beginning of September he told her they could no longer see each other. Gerald says that, though he feels guilty for lying to Sheila, he did what any man would do in protecting Ava/Daisy, and he does not regret the time they shared. Gerald tells the inspector he lost contact with Ava/Daisy. The inspector informs him that, in her diary, she wrote she had gone away for 2 months to the seaside, to think about what had happened between her and Gerald. Gerald asks the inspector if he might walk outside, to collect his thoughts. The inspector allows this. Before Gerald goes, he and Sheila talk in front of the rest of the family. Sheila says she is still angry at Gerald, but not as mad as she was before hearing the story of the affair from him, because at least now no secrets are being kept. She says that if they are to repair their relationship, they must begin from scratch, and see if they can become intimate again knowing what they now know about their past. Gerald leaves the room, and the inspector turns to Sybil. Gerald understands that his affair will now be revealed to the family. He knows it will hurt Sheila, and initially he lashes out at her, believing Sheila wants to see him suffer as she has suffered. Gerald does have a hard time understanding that Sheila would be more accepting of the affair once she has heard all about it from his own mouth. For Sheila admits, at the end of this section, that knowing or guessing only a bit of the story is harder than find out about it all at once. This, the audience will later learn, is uncharacteristic of Gerald, who appears a kind and conscientious person. Even the inspector agrees, later in the play, that Gerald's behavior to Ava/Daisy has not been overly cruel. Their relationship was illicit, and Gerald was dating Sheila and lying to her while it was ongoing. But Gerald was not cruel to Ava/Daisy, and he appears to have genuinely wanted to help her.